This is not the video I intended to make this week. I actually had a whole one plotted out about the way limitations can actually help inform us as creators. But the last week has been kind of a giant train wreck. So last Tuesday, I blew out my knee. I'm not going to go into too many details, but the short version, I've done a fair amount of damage, and I'm on a holding pattern for the next 6 weeks while we do some different treatments and we try to get it all patched up. And the timing on this, the timing on stuff like this is always going to be pretty terrible. Like that's just the way it is. It's never convenient to find yourself in this position. But recently I have really been thinking a lot about the kind of hobbies that I have in my life that have nothing to do with like my long-term ambitions. That when I get hobbies, I tend to really genuinely feel the need to invest a huge amount in them. Not just financially, but to think of, okay, first I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and it's going to lead to this huge thing. And I've had a lot of conversations with friends and with my therapist and stuff like that about the value of doing a hobby that is literally just for you. That there's no long-term return that you're hoping to see out of it. There's no, for lack of a better term, purpose to doing it other than it makes you happy and it makes you smile. And I decided that I was going to start doing photography. I've dabbled in photography before. I've played around a little bit with it, and I really love photography. And I think my favorite part about it is that I harbor no illusions that photography is actually going to have a material benefit to my life. Like, it's not going to earn me money. It's not going to help with book sales. It's not going to advance me professionally. It's literally just a thing that I enjoy getting out and taking pictures. And on top of that, I've been looking for more reasons to get out of the house, to get active, to get out into my community. And I really feel photography is a great platform for doing that. Just to go out for a few hours and walk around a part of town that I've never been in and take some photos and just have this record of this thing that I did. And I was very, very excited for that. And as I think we all do when we get into a new hobby, we tumble down the YouTube rabbit hole. We start digging into what are great ways to get started. I bought some books, and about a month ago, I got a new camera. I got a Nikon Z30, and it's something that I'm really excited. I've already started taking some pictures with it, and I've been really, really excited about this. And then Tuesday, my knee popped, and here's the thing. When you go down that YouTube photography rabbit hole, when you watch all those videos of 10 things I wish I knew when I got started, or what I would do if I was starting off photography for the first time in 2025, or whatever the titles of those videos are, they all have a couple things in common, but the one that everyone says is the most important thing you can do for your photography is to just get out and start shooting. And, well, I have been surprised at how frustrating this has been. You know, I have been injured in the past. I got injured while I was in the military. I've had surgery. I've been put down for days or weeks or even months in the past. And I think one of the things that people don't often talk about is the frustration that comes along when you are coming to terms with these new, granted temporary limitations, and you are looking at all the things that you love in your life that are now limited by your new circumstances. For example, I love to cook. It is one of my favorite things to do. I can't do it right now. I tried to make chili yesterday and I was successful, but it absolutely exhausted me and I was in a massive amount of pain because I'm not supposed to be on my feet all that much. Photography just ended up being that one thing that I was just on the verge of getting excited to get up, go out and find new ways of seeing this place that I just moved into in February. And now I really can't do that. And I've got this camera and I've got these books and I've got all these little tips and all this research, and I'm taking pictures of my dog. And don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with the way these pictures of my dog are turning out. But at a certain point, even Pickle is getting a little bit tired of seeing this camera pointed at him. And I'm not going to learn anything by taking the same picture of my dog over and over and over again. It is funny, I scripted out this entire video about how our limitations can help define us. You know, I've thought a lot in my life about the fact that I've had times where I was convinced that if I had more time to write, if I had better resources with which to write, if I had fewer distractions to write, that I would be able to achieve all of the goals that I have as a writer. But the fact is, I've been in those circumstances before. I graduated college in 2011. I went back to school on the GI Bill. As many of you will know, 2011 was a terrible job market, and it took me almost a year to find a new job. And so for a year, I didn't have a full-time job. I would spend about 3 hours a day searching for a job. That's really the best you can do, I think, before you start just banging your head against the wall. For the rest of the day, I had time to write. I had time to actually put together books. And looking back at what I have to manage now, about the fact that I get 2 hours every morning from 5 to 7 a.m. in which to write, there's part of me that is absolutely wants to go back in time and kick my ass for not taking advantage of that time. But I had all the time in the world, and I just couldn't get anything done. I couldn't find any inspiration. I had 1,000 reasons why I could put off my writing until the next day. And nowadays, I don't have that many reasons anymore. My time is much more limited. My time that I'm able to sit down and create is very, very limited. And because of that, it's precious. I have to come at it with intent. And when I sit down to write, I don't check my phone. I don't spend time on my socials. I write because if I miss those 2 hours, those 2 hours are incredibly precious, and there's no other time that I get to make that up. And so, thinking about this idea of how our limitations can actually help teach us to value our time a little bit better, and even force us to find new and innovative ways using the tools we have to tell the stories that we want to, I am trying to view my current circumstances in that light. I am trying to look at my current circumstances from the perspective of, okay, I am not really ambulatory right now. I don't really have the capability to walk out my front door, wander through my neighborhood, and snap a bunch of pictures when I want to just have some time quiet to myself. So how do I then take those limitations and find value in them? And, that video, I scripted that out before I got hurt, and it's a lot easier to say that when you're not actively dealing with some kind of limitations right now. But I'm hoping that I can find something that will help me see this in a little bit better light. I'd love any suggestions. I'd love any advice. And I hope all of you are having a wonderful week.